which quarterback drafted in this draft do you think is in the best position to succeed short term and long term?
Sure. I kind of have the same answer for both. Is it a cop out to say Kenny Pickett? Like, I don't know. It's the obvious pick just because the other guys went to good situations, but I don't think as good as what Kenny Pickett is walking into. And that's what you get when you're a late first round pick. You're going to go to a team who, especially in the Pittsburgh Steelers case, they went to the playoffs. They have a history of winning. They have a stable organization, head coach, GM, even though their GM is leaving for the first time in like 15 years. I don't know how long he's been GM there. Owner across the board. So Kenny Pickett's coming in. The talent is great. We already know the Najee, Deontay Johnson, Claypool, Freiermuth. You have all of these guys, George Pickens now. So even the offensive line has been upgraded over these last 2 seasons too. So the talent around him isn't, that's usually not even the biggest concern about rookie quarterbacks, but it's more so, is your head coach going to be here in a year? Is your GM going to be here in a year? Because when you have coaches and GMs that are constantly coming in and out, it's hard for a rookie quarterback to stay, number one, in the same system, and number two, in their own head, like, okay, we have a new coach and GM. Am I still the guy? Especially if you're like a late first, second round pick where you don't have that top 5 type of talent, or talent's not the right word, but top 5 of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they invested a top 5 pick in you. So you know for sure you're the guy. When you're a late first round, second round pick, that's something that you have to think about season to season, especially when you have all these guys changing around. So Kenny Pickett is by far, I think, coming into the best position, at least short term, because number one, he's probably going to start. Mitch Trubisky, I think, is someone he's going to be able to beat out, and he has the talent around him. But I do want to, have some credit to Ridder and Malik Willis, too. Ridder's going to go to Atlanta, where he's not going to be asked to start right away. He's going to have 2 big body weapons in Kyle Pitts and Drake London, 2 guys who are going to be probably 2 of the best contested ball receivers in the NFL. Kyle Pitts, you could label him a tight end or wide receiver. Wherever he lines up, he's going to be a mismatch because he's 6'6" and runs a 4.4, 4.5. So he's a freak too. And then if you have Calvin Ridley there next season, maybe he even sits the whole season. Who cares? Now you have Calvin Ridley next year. So for the long term, I think Ridder might be in the best case out of all of these guys. He's just the one I have the most questions about talent-wise. Physical talent, like I mentioned, processing I think is great. And then the last guy I mentioned, probably third on this list, is Malik Willis. Because Tannehill's going to be the guy. They're still going to be trying to win over these next couple of seasons. It's just a matter of, does Tannehill have a 2021 season or a 2020 season? If he's back to his 2020 ways, Tannehill's going to be the quarterback there for another season or 2. But if he has another season where he struggles, then Malik comes in. The only issue with Malik Willis starting at quarterback, you have Derrick Henry, who's approaching that running back age apex where once you get to 27, 28 years old, 95% of running backs fall off a steep, steep cliff. Derrick Henry is one of a kind, but we did see it this past season. His first time really getting injured and missing a significant part of the season. And then his wide receivers. I love Treylon Burks. I'm not worried about that, but again, a rookie. And then Robert Woods, who's on the wrong side of 30. He's coming off an ACL injury, and you don't have much behind that. So Malik, talent-wise, I love. It's just his situation might be a little bit murky.
I'm surprised you said Desmond Ridder. For the fact that, short term, I like Desmond Ridder's chances to. Marcus Mariota has a couple stinkers. He comes in and out plays, and he does have some good weapons. But I look at all these quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett and the Steelers will be competitive. Matt Corral, Panthers, they won't be the worst team in the league. Malik Willis, Tennessee, they won't be the worst team in the league. The Falcons have the chance to have the worst record in the league, and if that happens, Desmond Ridder is getting replaced by Bryce Young.
That's true.
That's why long-term I don't see that, just because he's the one that I see. He can be replaced in a year if they go get Bryce Young. But Arthur Smith has said that Desmond Ridder, he likes Desmond Ridder, and Ridder compares himself to Ryan Tannehill, who's somebody Arthur Smith thinks very highly of when he was in Tennessee. So there's something there. Matt Corral, I like his short-term situation a lot. Kenny Pickett versus Matt Corral. Kenny Pickett is battling against Mitch Trubisky. Corral's battling against Sam Darnold. I think Trubisky's better than Darnold. Matt Corral can beat out Sam Darnold in camp and have that success short term and have an improved offensive line, weapons, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall. They got some guys there. They also have Rashard Higgins. So they have some guy, Christian McCaffrey, healthy. I think short term he's in a better position than Kenny Pickett for those reasons, just because I think Sam Darnold's easier to beat out than Trubisky.
He is, but it's not by much.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about like the 30th best quarterback compared to like the 35th best quarterback.
And Matt Corral, also Ben McAdoo was a very big advocate for him. And Ben McAdoo, somebody who has a great quarterback track record, he has a quote unquote eye for the quarterback position.
Gotta love those guys.
Mahomes, he wanted to draft Mahomes when he was with the Giants, but they didn't draft him. I think he had Joe Burrow or Herbert as his number one quarterback. I'm not sure, one of those, whatever. But just know his track record in evaluating quarterbacks has been good. So there's that. I think he had Zach Wilson as his best quarterback in this past draft too. Yeah. It might have been Zach or Trevor, whatever. Yeah, one of those two.
So what's your answer for short and long term? Who's your favorite?
Short term is Matt Corral with the Panthers.
Okay.
Long term, it's Malik Willis.
You don't worry at all about Matt Rule. He's probably not going to be there next year.
No,
the offensive line's improved.
That's why I say short term. Short term, I think Matt Corral can start. Long term, I do worry about that.
And who's your long term?
Malik Willis. I just think the potential Tennessee. Look,
so no love for Kenny Pickett.
No.
Why?
I think Kenny Pickett's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, all of these guys are fine.
I think he's fine. But if we're talking about short term, Matt Corral, I think Panthers have a better offense than the Steelers. At least I think in talent wise, top to bottom.
What?
I think they do.
Say that again.
When we're taking into account the offensive line, yes.
The Steelers' offensive line's been improved.
It's not as good as the Panthers.
I don't know. I would like DJ Moore's great. Don't get me wrong, but DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson cancel out, and I'll take the rest of the pieces. Don't get me wrong. CMC better than Najee, but can he stay healthy?
Tommy Tremble.
Okay, give me Freiermuth, Claypool, George Pickens over the rest of the guys the Panthers got.
Well, I'm also looking at the offensive line. I look at Icky. I look at Taylor Mine. I look at Bradley Bozeman. I look at Austin Blythe, not Austin Blythe, Austin Corbett.
Yeah.
So,
they have made improvements.
Yeah, they've made significant
improvements.
improvements.
The Steelers have made improvements too.
Their best offensive lineman is James Daniels.
I know, but they brought in some guys too over the last 2 seasons. I'm blanking off the top of my head. I could try to find it. But regardless, I think that you have to take into account like their offensive line, sure, it might be even marginally better. I still think the Steelers' offensive line is going to be average, right? And maybe the Panthers are a little bit above average. But I still think you have to come to realize that this is a new offense coordinator now coming in, right? Joe Brady's gone. I mean, he was there last season, but regardless.
He wasn't good, though.
He wasn't good, you're right. But still, a new system. And then you have Matt Rule, who he might get fired week 5. Like, they start off 1-4, he might get fired. So it's going to be hard for Corral to come in and succeed, even if he is great, to have all this, all these things going on in your rookie season as a quarterback. So I'll take Pickett, who I think has a better offensive surrounding him, weapons, offensive line, running back, and plus I get the reliable coach, the guy who has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. I'll take that over Matt Corral. Especially you get a third-round pick compared to a first-round pick.
That's a fair argument, but I think that Mike Tomlin will have his first losing season this year.
It wouldn't shock me. I also think, and the only reason I'm not saying Sam Howell, because I like Howell live. I don't remember if he was my quarterback 2 or no, he's my quarterback 3 maybe coming out. But a 5th-round pick hurts. The fact that he lasted the 5th round tells me that the NFL does not look at him as a starting quarterback. And he has a chance. He
hasn't been good outside of his first year.
Yeah, he has a chance. I mean, this past season he put up pretty decent numbers. But he has a chance because Wentz could struggle. But even still, like 5th round picks, the chance of them hitting are extremely slim. But I know there's gonna be some people asking about Sam Howell. If he was a 3rd round pick, he'd be in the conversation for sure. But 5th round pick tells me that they look at him as a developmental quarterback, and unless something happens to the first, they still have Taylor Heineke too. So he's probably gonna be the 3rd string on that team.
I'll change my pick.
What is it?
Short term is still Matt Corral, but long term it's Kenny Pickett just because of stability.
Okay.
Because I think Tennessee, although I like,
they brought in Mason Cole. That was the center they brought in. He was really good.
Really?
He was the 13th ranked center last year.
Mason Cole.
He was
and
the
how many
13th ranked
snaps?
center. 500, 460.
Mason Cole.
I mean, he didn't play a ton.
He played in Minnesota.
You're saying he was in the Cardinals last year.
Mason Cole?
They have him in a Cardinals uniform, so I believe so.
No, I believe he was in Minnesota last year. Yeah, he was with Minnesota. He started. He started 7 games.
Started half the year.
7? Yeah, no, that's a little less than half the year.
Half the year. Now,
man, get out of here.
I mean, it's
in Arizona. He was
last year. I know. I think he probably got cut.
Yeah, but look, I think Malik.
Their tackles are bad.
Although Tennessee has stability, I think Malik is talented. I don't think he's as talented as people advertise him to be. Like, I don't think he's like this Josh Allen level prospect.
You saw what Matt Miller was saying? Matt Miller, he was on some ESPN show. They were saying that players are going to see him in that first practice. They're going to see his arm talent. They're going to say, why isn't that guy starting? Why isn't Malik starting? Why is Tannehill starting? He was comparing him to Mahomes, his first practices, when everyone saw his arm talent. So I think Malik is going to have that kind of like, not that.
I mean, for me, look, that goes hand in hand with the comment that Tannehill made. I mean, I was fine with the comment. I don't think that he's going to withhold any information from Malik. I think, they're professionals at the end of the day. It's Malik's job to go there, learn, and put his best foot forward. Yeah. And Tannehill's job to maintain professionalism and not be a jerk.
Yeah, which he's not.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. But I know Malik has like a strong arm, but I think the talent is a bit overhyped with him.
Yeah, well, that just comes with the bad quarterback class. There's going to be one guy everyone likes more than the rest, and his physical tools are the best out of all of these guys, which is why everyone projected him to go in the first round, and he ended up going in the third round.